If Trump tomorrow, I am not kidding, tomorrow tested every single person in the United States, 330 plus million people. I'm not kidding. Tomorrow they'd say, no, you got to test them again or we can't open up. We don't know. They could have been infected last night. That's the point. So the Democrats need a reason to keep the economy shut down. It has become a bludgeon on President Trump. So what do? They keep moving the goalposts. You may say, Dan, that sounds harsh. Is it? I thought the goal of these economic lockdowns, according to the Democrats, and to be fair, many in the Trump administration themselves, initially was to flatten the curve, right? In other words, when they say flatten the curve, keep the peak of infections by coronavirus low enough that our hospital capacity would not get overwhelmed and we would not run out of ventilators and hospital beds. We have now flattened the curve significantly. We are way under projections by just about every model out there, way under. Curve has been flattened. I mean, if you believe in simple graphing in mathematics. If you don't, this segment's not worth your time because you believe in fairy tales. Projections, reality. Projections, reality. The curve has been flattened. There is no vaccine for this currently. I have some potentially good news on that, by the way. Stay tuned. I'm hoping to get to it today, if not tomorrow. But there is no vaccine right now. So if your goal was flatten the curve by shutting down the economy, in the beginning, when we didn't have a lot of information, if it was meant to be short, I think people understood. Nobody understands anymore. Why you're bankrupting people for a goalpost that keeps moving seems to be malfeasance rather than just simply misfeasance. In other words, why are the Democrats and these anti-Trump Republicans, why are they still flattening people's wallets even though the curve has been flattened when they stated that was the goal? Goal has been met. Why are we not opening up? Well, because it's doing significant damage to President Trump. It's doing even more significant damage, however, which is more important, to you. So now they want you to forget. And by the way, please challenge anything I'm saying right now. The goal clearly was stated in the beginning. We're shutting it down to flatten the curve because we don't have a vaccine. There's not going to be a panacea. There's not going to be some magic cure tomorrow. There are treatments developing. We're getting a better grip around this. Thank God. We're finding out who's most vulnerable. But the exit plan was what? I thought flatten the curve. No, the exit plan now is testing. This is their new talking point, as I've said before. You don't believe me? You have to go to the hack Democrats, the worst Democrats in the business, because they'll always parrot the worst talking points. They don't want this open. They don't want it open. Please cite to me where Nancy Pelosi, if you doubt me, or Bill de Blasio, these two videos I'm about to play, please cite to me where they've said they want the economy open, we flatten the curve. You can't, because they don't want it open, and they continue to attack the president. Their new goalpost, however, is not to flatten the curve, because that's been met. And if they say it's been met, they'll have to give President Trump and the governors, to be fair, both Democrat and Republican, some credit for doing it. They don't want to do that. So they need a new goalpost until they open up. And the new goalpost is going to be an impossible one, which is testing. Now, there's a reason why they want testing. As Nancy Pelosi can't say anything else. First, let me play the cuts. First, here's de Blasio, communist mayor of New York City. Total failure in every respect. In life, in governing, just an abomination. Probably the worst mayor in the history of New York City. And believe me, having lived in New York City through the Dinkins era, that's saying a lot. Ed Koch, who wasn't that great either. This guy takes the cake. Here's de Blasio going with the testing talk. I'll explain more after I play Pelosi next, but check this out.
We do not have all the testing capacity we need. This is still one of the biggest problems in this whole horrible crisis we've been through. The federal government has still not led the way on testing, even at this hour. We do not have the lab capacity we need to get to the kind of level of testing, tens of thousands, even hundreds of thousands a day is what we really need.
There it is. Someone told them to use the testing token. Remember, see where we're going with this. The original goal until we opened up was flatten the curve. That goal has been met. Okay, why aren't we opening up? No, now it's not to flatten the curve. It's because of testing. You think, oh, well, that's just de Blasio. He's a moron. He just says dumb stuff all the time. No, this is their talking point. Here's Nancy Pelosi parroting the exact same talking point. Check this out.
The president said that there will be more deaths, but that the virus will pass, that it is time to reopen the economy, And as we see hotspots spreading across the country, do you agree with him now that it's time to focus more on what he sees as getting back to normal?
No, what I think we must do, and science tells us, is that we must have testing, tracing.
Why does she want that? The answer is because it's an impossible goal, and she doesn't want the economy opened up. She doesn't want it open. She doesn't care about you. She doesn't care about your rent. She doesn't care about your food bill. She doesn't care about your food supply drying up. She doesn't care about hospitals going bankrupt. She doesn't care about nurses and doctors going bankrupt. She doesn't care about your business. She doesn't care about your employees. She doesn't care about your paycheck. Nancy Pelosi is a genuinely awful person, and I'm trying to control my rage because as I nearly lost it before the show with Paula, and even Paula was like, if Trump tomorrow, I am not kidding, tomorrow, tested every single person in the United States, 330 plus million people. I'm not kidding. Tomorrow they'd say, no, you got to test them again or we can't open up. We don't know. They could have been infected last night. That's the point.
You just heard the Dan Bongino Show. You can also get Dan's podcasts on iTunes or SoundCloud and follow Dan on Twitter 24/7 @DBongino.